So let's get on to Donald Trump and this extraordinary story. It's been claimed, and it's not wrong, it's one of, if not the greatest political comeback stories that's ever been. There's been indictments, convictions, attempted assassinations on his life, and here he is as president-elect. I mean, what do you make of that story?
Look, it's been 100 years since America's had a choice like they had last night. Donald Trump was easily able to say, it's not about hypothetical propositions. Literally, if you like what you saw when I was president, vote for me and J.D. Vance. If you like the last 4 years, domestically and internationally, vote for her. You don't get to do that very often in America. It's like I said, it's been a century since we've been able to do it. And it was an easy vote for a lot of people who said, maybe I wasn't 100% there, but I know what I'm buying. And I know what the world and what the country was like under Donald Trump, and I'll take more of that.
So what are you expecting over the next 4 years? And there won't, of course, be another term after that. So what do you think of the future of the MAGA movement? Will it be in the safe hands of J.D. Vance? Does that continue?
It's a great question. It's one that I've wrestled with myself. So I only chuckle because, we're here hours after this historic victory, and we're already talking about what it's going to look like in 4 years, right? I think it's a great topic. I'm glad you brought it up. I have a documentary where I talk about the rallies and the people who supported Donald Trump and where do they go. I've been wrestling with this myself for a couple of years. I think J.D. Vance would be the front runner of the movement, but I think Donald Trump himself said just a few days ago that we probably can expect a spirited primary after the end of this. But I think what we've done is recalibrated a lot of politicians, especially on the right, that we expect results. We expect them to put America first policies front and center in their campaigns, and we want to see a fight in them. We don't want them to roll over and to make excuses. And he's really reshaped not just American politics overall, but really what we expect and what we see on the right.
Yeah. Sean, you were obviously his press secretary for a while. Just for our audience, what is it like to be his press secretary?
God, another great question. It's challenging. It's intense. He's a guy who likes to speak for himself. So if you're going to speak for him, it requires constant checking in, nuance. He's very particular about the words that are used, the phrases, the imagery, unlike anyone else I've worked for in 30 years in politics. So, look, I've always said this. Donald Trump's probably the toughest boss that I've had, but he's also been some of the kindest. You always know where you stand with Trump. He'll yell at you when you screw up, and he'll praise you when you do well. You always know where you stand with him, and I've seen it on both sides. I've been on the sort of the bad side and the good side, and it's tough when you're on the bad, but it's great when you're on the good.
So what advice would you have for his next press secretary?
Stay in touch with him. Make sure that you're up to date. If you're going to go out and say he believes in something or he, has a position on something in particular, make sure you're checking with him. Make sure you're checking with him on a regular basis. And if things shift policy-wise or, events, then go back in and make sure that he's still he's still there where you thought he was. Don't make assumptions on what he thinks he's supposed to, what he should, or you think he's going to believe. And that was some of the things that I dealt with, where I made assumptions about things that I thought he believed based on previous conversations. But he's a guy that talks to a lot of people. And so you better make sure you know where you stand at all times.
All right. Sean, good to have you with us this morning. Thank you so much for your time. We'll chat to you again soon.